Now, let me tell you something that might hurt you just a little. You don't actually believe that you are insecure. You just believe that you're not attractive enough. You think, if I look taller, if I look slimmer, if I look lighter in complexion, if I look thicker, more muscular, then I'd finally feel confident. Then I'd finally feel happy. Then I'd finally feel loved. Then I'd finally feel worthy. Finally feel accepted. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Attractive people feel insecure. So if attractiveness can fix insecurity, then why are they still insecure? Here's the fantasy that we all secretly believe. Most people don't actually want to be attractive. They want what being attractive is going to get them. Being chosen, being loved, being desired, being wanted, being accepted. So we don't chase beauty. What we actually chase is relief. Relief from rejection, feeling unworthy, from being the odd one. But here's the problem. Attractiveness can get your attention, fine, but it cannot get you security. Also, I used to have this one friend back then who dated based on appearance. She would spend her money on beauty product because she wanted to look beautiful for her boyfriend. She was spending a lot of money to change how she looked, to make sure that she looked good for her boyfriend. But she wasn't secure. She was always stalking his Instagram, checking his following list, checking his female friend, checking what he was doing, because she had this thought that if this boyfriend of mine sees another girl that is more attractive than I am, he's going to leave me for her. And that is not insecurity about looks. That's insecurity about what? And you know what? Being attractive cannot fix your insecurity, neither can it get you security. That is the psychology behind it. Psychologists talk about something called the core belief. Now, a core belief is a deep assumption you have about yourself. I'm not beautiful. I'm not worthy to be loved. Here is the key. If you suddenly now become attractive, like your brain won't go and say, oh wow, I was wrong. Your brain will go ahead and say, okay, now they like me because of my appearance. Okay, so I have to maintain this appearance, else I'm going to lose this attention. Else I'm going to lose this environment or this atmosphere that I suddenly feel with people. Back in high school, I had this one classmate. He was a guy, he was really chubby. He wasn't getting attention from girls. Like when they go to speak to a girl, like the girl will not even pay him attention. After we wrote jams to go into university, so he changed his style. He lost a lot of weight. He even changed his hairstyle. He changed his fashion sense. And when he got into university, like he was getting attention from, the babes. He even had a girlfriend. And there was a day when we met, like to catch up on how school has been, on how tough university is. And then he told me something. It was like, despite how he has changed his physical appearance, he looked more fit now, more handsome now, but he still feels insecure. Like when he walks into the classroom and he sees people staring at him, he starts asking himself question, did I gain weight? And so despite he changed his appearance, he was still feeling insecure. So he did not escape his insecurity. What he did was to upgrade his insecurity. Like the insecurity did not disappear. All the insecurity did was to change outfits. Let's see why attractive people still struggle. Now, let's be real. Some people, like the people you call your celebrities, the influencers, the actors, the actress, that they still struggle with insecurity. They struggle with different problems like depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia, eating disorder. So if being attractive can fix this insecurity, and they are supposed to be like the most secure people on earth, right? But they are not. You know why? Because insecurity is not all about mirrors. It's about identity. So if your identity is built on how I rank compared to others, then you never feel secure. You know why? Because there would always be someone taller, always be someone more attractive, there would always be someone more lighter in complexion, there would always be someone more thicker, there would always be someone more muscular, there would always be someone getting more attention. And comparison is a treadmill with no finish line. There's this thing called the conditional confidence. Now you see, most people live with conditional confidence. I'll feel happy when, I'll feel more confident after. And that's not confidence, that's a contract. And there's a thing about contracts, that contracts can be broken. But you know what real confidence says? Real confidence says, I'm enough, even before improvement. And that doesn't mean that you stop improving. It now means that your improvement is no longer survival, it's now growth. And there's a huge difference between both of them. So when you improve from shame, you feel pressure. But when you improve from a place of security, only you feel power, like POWER. That's the exact thing you feel when you improve from a place of security, when you improve from a place of authenticity. And here is the real root. Listen, You don't feel insecure because you're actually unattractive. You feel insecure because you've tied your worth to being wanted, and that is exhausting because when your brain has believed that if I'm not attractive, then I'm not valuable, if I'm not attractive, then I'm not worthy to be loved, every room becomes a test, every discussion becomes a performance, and every silence becomes rejection. And that's not a looks problem, honey, that's a worth problem. Down to the main issue of the day, what actually fixes your insecurity? Listen, it's not about being curvy, it's not about the curves, it's not about how light you are in complexion, it's not about how dark you are in complexion, it's not about how thick you are, it's not about how well built you are as a guy, with the biceps. Nah. Those things, they would not fix your insecurity. The only thing that can fix your insecurity is restructuring your identity. It's separating your value from your appearance. It is separating your worth from your desirability, and it is also separating your identity from your validation. It's believing that even if no one is looking at me, I'm still attractive. Even if no one is staring at me, I'm still beautiful. Even if I'm not even the most attractive person in the room, I do not shrink. And that, babes, that is power. That's you reclaiming your power, and that's you being powerful. So being attractive can change how people treat you. Fine, no problem. But it will not change how you see yourself. And listen, how you see yourself, how you accept yourself, how you recognize yourself, how you love yourself, that's the real battlefield. Like, that is where the battle is. And so you can go ahead, spending all the millions and the billions on getting the latest skincare product, on getting the latest beauty product, getting all the BBL and the lip fillers and whatever beauty cosmetic operation that's actually trending right now, while the internal wound keeps expanding, while the internal wound stays there and keeps on rotting. Or you can dismantle that thought that says I'm not enough, and then you dismantle it at the root. Because the moment that you realize that your worth was never negotiable, listen, your insecurity loses its grip, and also attractiveness becomes optional and not essential. So as a closing thought, I want you to have this at the back of your mind, that attractiveness, it will surely get your attention because people love when there's a girl that's looking beautiful and a guy that is looking well built, those kind of things are attractive, and you're like, but that would not change how you see yourself. And how you see yourself should be the most important thing. It should be the only thing you should work on. If I'm always placing my worth on creating or changing a particular thing in me, and then I see someone else that has that thing even better, so I'm going to now work harder again to change. So I'll keep on changing without spending time on myself, without being with myself. And that is what we call self-love, because you need to love yourself. People won't come up here and show you the scars. People won't come up here and show you the ugly thing. They'll come up here and show you what you want to see, because that is what gets you awakened. That is what gets you ignited. And so they will come, use all the filters, use everything, and then show you, and you'll be like, oh, my skin is horrible, my skin is bad, I saw a post one time on Facebook about some people making some comment about a certain celebrity. I don't want to mention about this name, and they were like, zooming into that person's picture, and they were like showing the real thing, and some comments were like, oh my goodness, like, is this how our skin is? So there's nobody that has the perfect skin, nobody looks perfect, but they are coming up here to show you what you want to see. To really glow up, you might change your body, change your ways, and you feel like, okay, yeah, when I do those kind of things, then I'll be happy. That's a big lie. Like, even if you are changing everything physically, but you're not changing what you are feeding your brain, there would be no change, because your brain is still dwelling on the previous hurtful words you've told it. Accept yourself and just love yourself, because you were made to be who you are for a purpose, and nobody has a perfect, nobody has a goal in their whole coming to show you something that you want to see, and you need to be wise. Work on your skin, look better, but that should be because you are doing it for yourself, not because you are doing it to get attention, not because you are doing it for external validation. Learn to build your intrinsic confidence, and your intrinsic confidence grows faster when you love yourself more, when you are spending time with yourself, and when you are doing things because that is what you want, not because that is what somebody else wants, or because you are doing it to get someone else's approval. And if this resonated well with you, you will have to check this video, because you would completely love it. Thank you very much for watching up to this moment. Like and subscribe, honey, if you want us to be besties, be better, and I'ma see you in this video. Hasta pronto.